I'm going to talk about tracking using hypertracker now, and you can find hypertracker at hypertracker.com. And there are two things I really like about hypertracker, and it is a paid service. We pay about $20 a month right now for our for the service, and it's well worth it. And the two things I really like about hypertracker, one is that it gives you the option to track clicks, actions, and sales. And so you can actually on one campaign track a click, and then whether they, for example, opt in or not, and then whether they actually purchase. So you have like three different really important numbers you can track using hypertracker. That's one thing I really like about them. The second thing I like is that hypertracker is just really flexible. There are ways to actually, sometimes I'll track actual clicks, sometimes I'll track page views as clicks, and also it gives you the option within any given ad campaign to track essentially an unlimited number of sub-campaigns, and it actually lets you create those sub-campaigns on the fly. So in this case, I'm going to be tracking two paths of a user who watches a YouTube video of mine. So I'm going to have traffic coming in from a number of different various places into my YouTube video. I have a call to action overlay on my YouTube video because I'm promoting that video through YouTube promoted videos. And that call to action overlay is going to be my ad, and when they click on it, I'm going to show how to track just a simple click straight to a sales page. For example, if you sell your own product or if you send them to an affiliate sales page and the clicks takes them straight through, I'll show how to track that, and then I'm going to also show how to track if the call to action overlay sends them to an opt-in form. And in this case you would offer them something for free, like a free video on how to do something related to the product you're selling, and then they opt in to get the free video. It takes them to a thank you page, and then from there they can go to the sales page and purchase. And then they have opted into your autoresponder sequence, and each message of your autoresponder sequence also promotes your product or your affiliate product and sends them into there. So I'll show also how to track that. That is the path that I recommend. I think you should always be trying to build a list, even if you're just pushing an affiliate product and it's not your own product. You should be building a list of customers or prospects who are interested in your niche. So this is the path, and so I'm going to be showing through hypertracker how to track the click on the call to action overlay, the opt-ins on your landing page, and then also the sales, whether they go through this way or whether they take this path tracking the sales. And I'm going to sign up for a new hypertracker account. Like I said, it's a paid service, but they do have a 14-day free trial. You just scroll all the way down to the bottom, click on the 14 days trial account, and click Get Instant Access Now. So I'm going to go ahead and fill out this form and start my free trial. Once you've created your free account for your free 14-day trial, you'll be able to log in, and this is what you'll see. Now your account is basically where you can affect the actual account information you have. If you go to campaigns, it's where you're going to be able to see any campaigns you've set up for tracking various things. And it's important to note that hypertracker has a default campaign. It starts for you from the very beginning, and in particular, if you have any opt-ins or sales that you begin tracking through hypertracker and it does not know what campaign to attribute those opt-ins or sales to, let's say I have a bunch of opt-ins coming in from this video and I'm tracking those through hypertracker, but then I'm also having just random traffic landing on this opt-in form and people opting in, hypertracker will track those opt-ins under the default campaign. So it can be nice to check that occasionally and see if you're getting opt-ins and sales that you're failing to track. Integration is where you can set up sales and actions, and you set up it gives you a snippet of code that you put on the thank you page for those. It's also where you can check the web addresses. I only have one right now, but these are the web addresses you use for your tracking links. And then finally you have the documentation, and you'll see the user manual is really helpful for just getting started. But actually, once you're really getting into to hypertracker and using some of the more powerful features. Amazingly, you'd be surprised that the frequently asked questions often has the answers to the more technical questions. So I recommend you check that when you start getting into some real technical questions. So let's go into campaigns, and I'm going to create a new campaign to track the traffic coming from a specific YouTube video that I have, and I'm going to track here. So I have this YouTube video in one of Chad's YouTube accounts on free one-way link getting, and you can see it has this call to action overlay as the ad I have here that's advertising this article steroids product. That's for article marketing. And so I have the URL here that is a clickable link that the call to action overlay lets me put on there. But rather than sending them straight to arborgroup.org/article-s, which is the sales page for this, I am going to send them through a tracking link, a hypertracker tracking link, so I can start tracking the clicks on this call to action overlay. So the way I'm going to do that is by going into Chad's YouTube account, and in the free one-way links, I'm just in my videos, logged in, and I went to my videos, and I'm going to click edit on that particular video, and I'm going to edit the information here on the call to action overlay. So this is where I'm going to be. You can see I have a display URL, which I'm going to keep the same, but in the destination URL is where I'm going to be adding my tracking link. So I'm going to go back to hypertracker.com, and I am going to create a new campaign. I'm going to first set up a campaign ID. I'm going to call it Art Steroid Source. And this campaign ID you want to make memorable, but fairly short and easy, because it's going to become part of your tracking link, and you're going to want to be able to remember it. The campaign name, I can add a little more detail. I'm going to call it Article Steroids, which is the name of that product. Article Steroids Traffic Sources, and I'll say clicks, opt-ins, and sales from various traffic sources. Article steroids tricks. And so here I'm just setting up my my campaign. The group name, I am going to put this in a group called Internet Marketing, because we have a lot of different niches that we sell to, and this is in our internet marketing niche. It's all about article marketing. I'm going to leave the campaign password alone because I don't have other people I need to give access to this specific campaign. But if you, for example, are tracking for other clients, you can give them a password just to that specific campaign and allow them to view it. I'm going to leave the campaign cost alone because according to my diagram here, I've got traffic coming in from all over. So some of it may be coming from my YouTube promoted video ad, but it's going to be difficult to know exactly what my cost per click is on this call to action overlay. And I'm going to count clicks once per session. So if they keep their web browser open and go back to it again and click through it again, it won't count that as another click. And then my target URL is arborgroup.org/article-s. And this is where you just put when someone clicks on a tracking click, this is the default place where you want them to go when they click on that. And one of the real nice flexible aspects of hypertracker is that you can actually, on a specific link, tracking link, change that target URL on the fly, but you should set up the default target URL here, and I don't want to keep that URL in the user's browser. I want to let them surf wherever they want. And I'm going to create a new campaign. Now what it shows me here is what my tracking links are. So my tracking link always starts with hypertracker.com, then go, then my account ID, and then my campaign. And that is how I track. Now the cool thing about this is it's showing me that if I want to set up sub-campaigns, I simply add a front slash. This is my sort of default main URL to track clicks. But then by simply adding a front slash and then any text I want and then another front slash, it will start tracking various sub-campaigns under this specific campaign, and that's really a powerful tool, and I recommend you definitely use it. So I now have my tracking link for this campaign. I'm going to go ahead and copy it. I'm going to go back in here, and then I'm going to change this destination URL to that tracking link. You'll notice I need to actually remove my HTTP on this call to action overlay link here. And then that will track the link to that specific campaign, but I want to track it to a sub-campaign. And so I'm going to call this sub-campaign Free One-Way Links, because that is the name of my video. And so then when I'm looking in hypertracker at where my clicks are coming from, I'll see this as my sub-campaign under this campaign, and I'll be able to remember that. So I've added my destination URL, and I'm going to go ahead and save changes. And now if I go back to my video here and refresh, it's going to start playing, and at about 10 seconds I think my ad is going to pop up again. And I'm just going to turn this down so it doesn't distract me. And when this ad pops up, you can see it looks exactly the same, but if I click on this, okay, it took me straight through. I'm here at my sales page, so that's great. So what I've done here is I have set this up to link straight from my call to action overlay to my sales page, but I have hypertracker now tracking that link. And let's find out if hypertracker tracked it for us. I'm going to go back to campaign overview, and you can see now that it's showing that I have article steroids traffic sources as a campaign in here, and you can see that it tracked 1 click. So that's awesome. Now I can drill down even more. Let's say I have lots of clicks there and I want to know where they're all coming from. I can go to stats, and then I can say analyze the results by sub-campaign, and this date is fine, and I analyze this campaign, and it shows me free one-way links as the sub-campaign. So this is fantastic. It's now tracking clicks. Now I'm going to show how to set it up to track actions and how to set it up to track sales on this article steroids product, so that I can start tracking all of that information. I have a different video in Chad's account here with essentially the same ad on it, but rather than sending this link to straight to the sales page, this time I'm going to make the link on this call to action overlay go to the opt-in form. And so I'm going to track clicks again to the opt-in form, and then I'm also going to track whether people opt in, and so I can start tracking that in my hypertracker tracking. So the way I'm going to do that is the same way I did it before. I'm going to go into my videos in my account. I'm going to click on edit, and I'm going to go down and edit the call to action overlay. So here's my call to action overlay, and I need to generate a new tracking link in hypertracker for this video. And now I already have this article steroid source campaign here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same tracking link, the same default tracking link for the article steroids campaign, but I'm going to use a different sub-campaign. So when I go into my call to action overlay here, I'm going to copy that same art steroid source tracking link. I'm going to back this up. But now, instead of, after that, putting free one-way links, I'm going to do traffic system is what I'm going to call this sub-campaign. So traffic system, and then a front slash. And so now, when people, well, let me update this, save changes. And now, if I refresh this, and we let this ad pop up, when people click on that call to action overlay, rather than being tracked as coming from the free one-way links video, they'll be tracked under the sub-campaign traffic system, because that is the link, that is the sub-campaign that I added at the end here. So this is one of the things I love, is that I can create a sub-campaign on the fly simply by adding a new piece of text on the end of my default campaign link, tracking link. So that's set up. And now I need to set up a snippet of code that will track whether people actually opt in and hit this thank you page, the opt-in thank you page, once they've clicked on the call to action overlay. And to do that, I'm going to go back to hypertracker.com, and I am going to, under integration, click on create HTML code. And it gives me a few options here. I can either use this to track a sale or an action. And so you have a lot of options here for what these actions need to be. In this case, my action is going to be an opt-in. So I'm going to click on action, and I'm going to say article steroids AR opt-in. So autoresponder opt-in. I'm going to say opt-ins to the article steroids autoresponder sequence. And so I can track what people are opting in here, and the value is required. I'm going to give it a value of 0 because I don't know whether these people are going to buy or not. The duplicate protection I'm just going to leave as default because I want it the same as the whole account setting, and I click on show HTML code. And it has a little JavaScript version and a little image version. You can use either of these. I'm going to use the image version because it's just what I normally use. Select it. I'm going to copy it. And now I need to go into the code of my thank you page. So the page that I'm going to open here is not the opt-in form, but the thank you page that they reach after they have opted in. So in my case, that thank you page, it looks like this. It's a page with video on it and a link to the article steroids sales page. And I am going to just go into the code on this page, and right after the opening body link. Now ours has a little extra piece of code, but yours might actually look like this with just a straight just two little brackets and then body in the middle. And I'm gonna just right after that opening body tag, I'm gonna paste my tracking pixel right in there. Now it could be the JavaScript. I'm using the image tracking pixel. It just depends on which one you want to use. I've got a lot of JavaScript happening on this page already, and so I think the image pixel will work better. Now I have my hypertracker tracking code on my opt-in form thank you page. That is this page right here after they opt in. And I have that my tracking link set up in on my YouTube video to track under traffic system. But there's one more thing that I need to set up, and that is that right now if people click on this ad when they watch this video, it's not going to take them to my opt-in form. It is still going to take them to the sales page because that's the default page on my hypertracker account. If I look in here in this particular hypertracker campaign, that the default URL is the sales page and not an opt-in page. So what I do is I go back into my my call to action overlay on my YouTube video, and in addition to adding a sub campaign, which I did, and that's fantastic, right after the sub campaign I add a front slash again, and then here I can actually add what's called a quick target, and that's simply the target URL of the page that I want this particular click to take them. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in on here. So now you can see that in addition to having the campaign name and then the sub-campaign there, I now have added a quick target, and that is simply the URL of the opt-in form that I want to send them to. So I'm sending them, rather than straight to the sales page, which is the default URL on that campaign, I'm using a quick target to send them to an opt-in form. And that again just shows the flexibility of hypertracker in that I can create both sub-campaigns and also add quick targets on the fly as I'm creating links. So this is my quick target. This is where I want to send my users when they click on this particular call to action overlay. That's why I'm going to save the changes. And let's go over and refresh this, and I will click on the ad. So in just a second that ad's going to pop up for me, and I will click on the link, and it takes me to an opt-in form. So I'm going to go ahead and opt in to this, and it will redirect me on to the thank you page. And it's taken me through to the thank you page. I'm watching this video, it's great, and if I want to, I can also click on this link and it'll take me through to the sales page. So my process is working great. Let's go into hypertracker and see how well it's tracked me here. And so I'm in campaigns, and I'm just going to refresh that. And you can see that now it's showing me not one click but 2 clicks and a single action. And if I go into stats, I can drill down a little more and see exactly what happened there. So analyze by sub-campaign. And now you can see that the traffic system sub-campaign, which is the one that I set up on this video, my sub-campaign traffic system now shows 1 click and 1 action, which was my opt-in. Because when I hit that thank you page, the little snippet of code that was on that thank you page told hypertracker, you just got an opt-in from this particular sub-campaign. So you can see the beauty of how accurately this can track, and you just have to have a little bit of control over your code. Now the very final step, which I'm not going to run through in detail, is to add a snippet of code to the thank you page that comes after you have made the sale. And the way you do that is in hypertracker, you just do the same thing you had done before. You go to integration, you create HTML code, but instead of tracking an action like I did before to track the opt-in, I track the sale of a product, and I'll call that product article steroids. And I can just say article steroids purchase, and I just put how much the product costs, which I think is I'm actually not sure how much that product costs, but I'm just putting that in for the example here. Duplicate protection is fine. I click show HTML code, and it gives me the same kind of snippet of code that it gave me to track my opt-in. And I would just select this and copy it, and then the very same way that I put that little snippet of code into the thank you page after my opt-in, I would just go into the code on my purchase thank you page and enter this snippet of code, my new snippet of code that I just got from hypertracker, into the same place. And then when I go into my campaigns and people are starting to make purchases, you will start to see not only clicks having numbers and not only actions, but also sales, and it'll also give you information on revenue, profit, and you can really start getting some good information once you're tracking your sales in there. So that's the basics of tracking through hypertracker. Hypertracker is a pretty robust system, and there are a number of other aspects to it, but that's the basics of getting started. And like I said, I didn't run through adding that snippet of code onto your product thank you page, but it's the same process as when I added it to my opt-in form thank you page. But if people go to the sales page and then click to purchase, whatever thank you page they go to after they have purchased, that's where you would add that piece of code that you get to track the sales from hypertracker. So hypertracker is a great system. I highly recommend it. It is a paid system, but you can see it's got a lot of flexibility, and you can track clicks, opt-ins, and sales just by adding a few snippets of code to your website.